Msamaha ni kitu cha ajabu wapendwa. Msamaha is very therapeutic in itself. Wakati tunasamehe, tunapona. Na wakati pia tunapokea huo msamaha, tunapona. Kama jamii, kama marafiki, kama colleagues, kazini. Forgiveness is needed. And forgiveness is very, very healing. One of the issues I've mentioned in quite a number of the episodes, if you've been following my episodes, is a good percentage of disabilities, a good percentage of things that disable us are very invisible, that you will need to know me deeper, or you will need to walk in my shoes for you to realize some of them. And I can tell you for a fact, a lot of us, if not all of us, are working with such things that are so heavy, unnecessarily heavy, number one. Number two, that are taking away space that would be occupied by important and useful things. And it will help if we get to know some of these things that really are disabling us, either knowingly or unknowingly, so that then we can do something about them. And one of the things that I actually would like us to talk about today in this episode that is really disabling and an unnecessary burden is unforgiveness. Hello everybody, and welcome to Naomi's All-Inclusive World, where we just talk about matters, disabilities, and just different conditions that are either disabilities or not. The different beliefs we've grown up with about just the world of this living with disabilities, and just get to help us understand this issue better, so that then we can either live better with people who happen to have these disabilities, number one. Number two, in case we are the ones living with the disabilities, that we will continue looking at ourselves from the eyes of I am Naomi first. Before the disability, I have my identity first before the disability. And also just help society understand that whether or not I have a disability, that treat me, or rather really give me a chance basing on my skills and not on what I either have or lack. Karibu. Some things are so heavy and really not necessary. And one of those things, like I've mentioned in my introduction, is just things like fear, like unforgiveness, like bitterness, and just wanting to rather stay in a safe space than thinking of even trying again just from the past experience. Now, life can really make us bitter, guys, and I know you can relate with this. Life has a way of just really squeezing all the joy out of you and literally leave you dripping with bitterness if you're not very careful. And it's from lots of things, from loss. Say for example, loss of a marriage, loss of, just an opportunity, loss of status, and so on. Just different losses can leave you very bitter, and especially depending with what network will be surrounding you during your journey of walking through that loss, and so on. Another thing that can really end up making you just walk around with an unnecessary burden beside bitterness from things such as loss is just is fear or phobia from past experiences. Excuse me. Say for example your past experience about say even about adding your family numbers, expanding your family, whether it was either biologically or by adoption, and it did not go the way you went, or rather it went really bad, you realize if you're not very, very careful, that fear is burden enough. Every time you'll be coming across a story of, say, for example, someone who was trying to, say, for example, an adoption, because quite a number of my friends don't have very, about 2 of my friends have very sad stories behind their trial for adoption. One and there are 2 very different stories, but really just both like sad in their own way. One really wanted to adopt a baby because she couldn't have a baby biologically, and the process and just the bureaucracy around it just was so draining, and still at the end of it never allowed her get the chance to raise a child. That now every time she hears about it, every time she reads about just the adoption thing, you can just tell she has not forgiven the process that frustrated her a few years ago, and so on. So you realize I don't even think she has the grace to want to try again the process again, because she's just thinking, with all my heart, with all my effort that I put in it, it never worked. Why would it work now? And you know, that fear just still, you can tell, is fresh in her. Number 2, just such a burden. She still is so broken when she talks about it now, almost 3 years down the line. And just that fear is enough to make her not want to try again. Number 2, it just kind of messes her mood, because every time she tries to bring that story up, or that story comes up through, say, if we are together as friends and that story comes up in whatever way, kind of just brings back the sad memories about the process she went through. So yeah, sometimes past experiences on our journeys, can be such a burden. And another person who also just had quite an experience was this particular couple wanted to actually have a baby by adoption, to add to their already existing family of about 3 boys. And the process also, again, it just took them around so deep and wide and back and forth and so on. And they eventually never qualified according to the system in that area. They were trying to do that. They never ever qualified. And worst of the worst actually was at some point when they got to learn that the boy they really had been trying and wanting to join their family actually died, because he had a disability, he had some health issues and so on, and he never made it long enough. So every time this story comes their way, you know, they still kind of grieve the lost chance of having, you know, been able to be part of that little boy's life. And number 2, just the way some systems just don't make things any easier. So yeah, you realize such like things, if you're not very, very careful, can just render you very bitter and very unforgiving. You know, you can become very unforgiving to the systems, very unforgiving to just, you know, the leadership in place and so on, and it's not good. Guys, let's try the best we can. If something works, it works. If something doesn't, heavens help us, but just yeah, try your best. I don't know how to put this in the best way and still remain kind. That we will learn to just forgive ourselves. And number two, be able to be able to give that forgiveness to whoever else needs it. Because again, the journey of forgiveness has to be two-way. Sometimes we really are very quick to extend our forgiveness to the offender or to the person who, should have done better and so on. But we forget to forgive ourselves. So I hope this time, let's be very intentional, guys, that whenever something doesn't go our way, let's just not be quick to forgive the other party, to forgive the other side. Let's also try our best to forgive ourselves, because we equally need the forgiveness. And I tell you, lack of it can be very disabling. It takes away the space for joy, it takes away the space for growth. It denies us the chance to be teachers, because we all are in one way or another. And for some of these matters, such as forgiveness and just second chance and so on, the experience we've walked through becomes a teacher. And sometimes when we are holding on such things very tightly, we almost become hypocritical if we're trying to tell the other person that they can forgive, that they can let go, that they can try again. So this is not a very easy one, and I don't want to sound like I'm just telling you what I think needs to work. Forgiveness is needed by all of us. We need it to give it, and we need to receive it, guys. So again, as the year is as new as it is, let's think about this. And I hope in our very big hearts that are full of love and compassion and grace and second chances and so on, that we will create space for forgiveness. We will create space to receive forgiveness from those who've offended us, and that we will also be willing to give forgiveness to those who we feel would have done better. Forgiveness as a burden, forgiveness as a baggage that can be very heavy. It's not the easiest of a subject, but we need to talk about it. We have people who are missing on chances to bond with families, who are missing on birthdays, who are missing on anniversaries for their family members, just because they cannot forgive, maybe for an offense that happened and it was so bad. Now, forgiving doesn't mean you are saying the other person was right. If anything, forgiving confirms that you are the strong person. So 2023, how I pray that we will create more space in our hearts for love and for other challenges and opportunities by letting go of the offenses, by allowing forgiveness, so that then that space that is being occupied by this bitterness, by this unforgiveness, will instead be occupied by love, by that heart to want to try again, and just by space to also just give and receive love and compassion and all that. Because that space of unforgiveness is being wrongfully occupied. So how I just pray that as we literally are as new as we are in 2023, that we will try giving and receiving forgiveness. And I'll be looking forward to reading from you on how this will go. Because trust you me, we all need it. We need forgiveness and we need to give it as well. Let's start with you trying to give it. It'll find its way back. Thank you for this heavy episode. I hope it helps us somewhere, because heaven knows we need it. We need forgiveness, maybe just equally as we need oxygen, as we need the air to breathe. We need forgiveness to give it and to receive it as well. So yeah, I'll see you in my next episode, and in the meantime, if you're my first timer, hit the subscribe button, like and share, and please share your forgiveness story with me and just with the audience. And if you are my returning subscriber, asante sana. Thank you for always coming back. Thank you for having put that notification bell on, which just makes life way easy. And yes, I will see you in my next episode. Bye for now.